There is a type of discipline that refuses to bend no matter the circumstances. It doesn't falter when you're exhausted, when chaos surrounds you, or when every instinct screams to quit. This is the discipline of the warrior, the kind that has shaped legends for centuries. Today you will discover the Ninpo Method, a system forged in secrecy by the shadows of feudal Japan, designed to turn ordinary humans into unbreakable warriors. This method doesn't rely on fleeting motivation, apps or pep talks. It relies on a truth the modern world has only recently begun to understand. Discipline is not born from willpower. It is cultivated through structure, ritual, and the elimination of negotiation. Imagine being a young boy in the year 1540, in a remote mountain village of Japan. The villagers called him slow, lazy, incapable, but he had a fire in his heart, a fascination with the silent, elusive figures who moved unseen across the rooftops at night, the Shinobi. He dreamed of becoming one of them, but he was weak in body, weak in focus, weak in spirit. Each morning he promised himself, "Today I will train." And each morning the promise crumbled. He would do 3 push-ups, stop from exhaustion and retreat. He would meditate for 2 minutes, then give up. The wooden sword would lift in his hands, strike 5 times, and then drop as fatigue and doubt took over. This cycle repeated endlessly. His father, a blacksmith with hands hardened by labor and life, had no patience for dreams. "Shinobi are myths," he said. "Stories parents tell to scare children." He knew of the secret school hidden deep in the mountains where students learn the path of the invisible warrior, but he never revealed its location, fearing the boy's weakness. Yet every night the boy's eyes wandered toward the distant peaks. Every morning he wondered, what if I actually tried today? And every afternoon he failed again, until the day the impossible happened. Returning from yet another futile practice in the forest, the boy saw a man standing in the path, simple clothes, ordinary in every way except his eyes. Those eyes seemed to pierce through him, cutting past every excuse he had built around his weakness. "You want to be a shinobi?" The statement, not a question, froze the boy. He knew he had wasted countless days, countless promises, and yet something deep inside stirred. The man spoke again, "Follow me. If you can keep up, I will show you the school. If not, go home and accept your life." 3 hours of climbing awaited him, 3 hours of physical exertion he had never sustained in his life. Every step brought pain, doubt, and the voice of his old self screaming, "Turn back, this isn't for you." But he kept moving, because in that moment, he understood something profound. The pain was irrelevant. The fatigue didn't matter. What mattered was the commitment he had made at the foot of that mountain. Warriors honor their word above all else. By the time he reached the summit, every fiber of his body screamed for release. He collapsed, and when he awoke, he was no longer a boy attempting to be a warrior. He was a student at the secret school, the first lesson of Ninpo already imprinted in his soul, commitment over comfort. The days that followed were nothing short of brutal. Rising before dawn to the toll of a bronze bell that seemed to reverberate within his skull, he joined other students who stood silently, disciplined and unwavering. In this school, there were no attempts, only existence. You either were a student of the way, or you were not. Questions were considered weakness, hesitation equated to death. Each day brought meditation in complete silence, hours of physical conditioning, relentless study of strategy, and stealth exercises until dusk. Sleep was earned, rest was earned. Every day, the boy wanted to give up. Every day, he could not. He had pledged publicly to become a warrior. His identity had changed. Failure was now social death. Even after a week, the battle continued within. The first pillar of Ninpo, the public oath, had restructured his identity. By declaring his intent openly, he had created a primitive force in his brain that interpreted, breaking that promise as catastrophic. The second pillar, the unchanging rhythm, removed the chaos of choice from his daily life. Every action had a time. Every time was constant. His body began to anticipate the bell before it rang. The mindless repetition formed an internal clock, a machine-like precision designed to eliminate hesitation. But rhythm alone was not enough. The third pillar, perfect form, required him to repeat every action in the exact sequence every day for 100 days. Push-ups, squats, sword drills, breathing exercises, all in the same order, at the same time, with zero variation. The first weeks were agony. His mind rebelled, demanding novelty, craving self-expression, resisting the mechanical repetition. Yet the master explained that true creativity is built upon mastery, and mastery demands repetition. By the third week, the repetition began to liberate him. The sequence became automatic. His consciousness, previously consumed with trivial decisions, was freed to notice the subtlest details, the micro-movements in his sword technique, the nuance of his breathing, the rhythm of his stance. Illness came, testing the fourth pillar, practice without gaps. One day, fever struck, and his body begged him to stop. His instinct screamed for permission to rest, to create a gap in the pattern. The master taught him a crucial distinction: rest is necessary, gap is optional. By reducing, not stopping, he maintained momentum, preserving the unbroken sequence that had become the foundation of his new self. On days of storm, when the hall flooded and the floor became slick, he trained in the rain. Discomfort, challenge, and chaos became tools, not excuses. The fifth pillar, prior preparation, reshaped his approach to life. He catalogued every potential obstacle: injury, illness, family emergency, extreme weather, and prescribed precise responses. When the unexpected arose, his actions were automatic, pre-decided, and unwavering. His prefrontal cortex, responsible for willpower, remained untouched by indecision. Every obstacle became a rehearsal, every challenge an opportunity to act without hesitation. The boy who once failed 3 push-ups now embodied the essence of the shinobi: unbroken, unflinching, and utterly reliable. As the 100th day approached, the transformation was complete. The sequence no longer required conscious thought. The body moved as if it were a living weapon. The mind, free from ego and hesitation, operated with clarity. Mushin, the mindless mind, had been achieved. In this state, decisions were no longer choices, they were actions executed instinctively, without delay or doubt. Tishi understood that the process had killed the old self, the self that negotiated, hesitated, and found excuses. In its place stood a warrior whose discipline was terrifying in its consistency and inevitability. Months later, when Tishi undertook his first real mission, 7 days behind enemy lines, without proper food, without rest, without comfort, he endured because he no longer considered failure an option. The voice of weakness had been extinguished. Every action flowed from preparation, habit, and identity. Observers called him obsessive, extreme, even unnatural. Their discomfort was proof of his success. He had transcended ordinary human constraints. True warriors, he realized, operate on a different level, where "I can't" no longer exists in the vocabulary. The principles he learned in the 100 days were simple yet profound. First, Ketsui, the public oath, ensures that your word defines your identity, not just your intentions. Second, Ri, the unchanging rhythm, removes choice from the equation, creating automatic compliance with your own standards. Third, Kata, perfect form, forces repetition, which builds mastery and frees the mind to perceive nuance. Fourth, Muku, practice without gaps, teaches resilience, allowing even incomplete actions to preserve momentum. Fifth, Zeni, prior preparation, eliminates indecision, enabling rapid, effective execution in any circumstance. These pillars transformed a weak, hesitant boy into a disciplined, unstoppable shinobi. Now, imagine what this method could do for you. The Ninpo Method doesn't ask for temporary effort, it demands full commitment. It will require you to sacrifice the part of yourself that negotiates, hesitates, or finds excuses. It will forge a new identity, one where discipline is not a chore, but a reflection of your essence. People around you will notice. They will call you extreme. They will question your methods. And in their discomfort, you will find confirmation that you are no longer living at the level of ordinary humans. You have become a warrior, not defined by strength alone, but by unwavering discipline, integrity, and the refusal to compromise your word. This path is not easy. It is not glamorous. It will test every aspect of your mind, body, and spirit. But the transformation is absolute. Start by making your public pledge. Fix your schedule. Define your form. Commit to 100 days of unbroken practice. Pre-decide your responses to obstacles. Stop negotiating with yourself. Sacrifice your weaker self so that the warrior within can emerge. In 100 days, you will not just be stronger, you will be different. You will be a person who doesn't wait for motivation. You will be a person who acts without hesitation. You will be a person whose discipline inspires awe, fear, and respect. The boy who could not complete 3 push-ups no longer exists. In his place stands a warrior, forged in the invisible fires of commitment, repetition, and preparation. The system is simple, but its power is immense. Its principles are ancient, yet their relevance is eternal. This is the Ninpo Method, and it will change not just what you do, but who you are. The question is no longer whether you can succeed. The question is whether you have the courage to commit fully, to endure fully, to become fully. Will you take the path, or will you remain in the shadows of your potential? The choice, in truth, no longer exists. A warrior acts. The days at the school blurred together, yet each was distinct in its demand. The bell never wavered. Dawn came with the same relentless precision, calling each student to rise or face shame. Tishi's body, once weak and unwilling, began to obey before the bell even rang. This was the result of the second pillar, the unchanging rhythm. The repetition of waking, moving, training, and meditating at fixed intervals carved a predictable path through his day, removing the daily negotiation that had once weakened him. His mind, which had spent so long debating, hesitating, and resisting, now flowed in harmony with his body. Each breath, each motion became automatic. But the path was far from easy. The mind resists change in subtle ways. Tishi found himself questioning the sequence. Why the same exercises day after day? Why the same breathing drills, the same sword forms? His ego cried out for novelty, for the stimulation of choice, for the illusion of creativity. The master observed silently, knowing the battle inside Tishi was as crucial as any physical challenge. Variety is the enemy of transformation, the master said one evening. Your mind desires difference because difference allows it to remain in control. Mastery begins where control ends, and form begins where resistance falters. Thus, Tishi embarked on the third pillar, perfect form. Each day, he executed the same sequence with no deviation. 50 push-ups, 100 squats, 30 minutes of sword kata, 20 minutes of focused breathing, each action in the exact same order. At first, it felt like imprisonment. Each repetition was mechanical, tedious, and unending. Yet, by the 4th week, something subtle occurred. His body began to learn. The sequences became second nature. Movements no longer required conscious thought. Awareness shifted from performing the task to observing it. The slightest inefficiencies, the smallest imbalances in his stance or grip, became visible. Mastery of form was not about variation, it was about precision and awareness. Even as he embraced form, Tishi faced the inevitable test of weakness, the internal argument of excuses. Illness struck. Fatigue crept into his muscles. Cold seeped into his bones. The old self would have stopped, hidden, or delayed. But here, the 4th pillar, practice without gaps, became crucial. The master taught that gaps were fatal. Momentum mattered more than perfection. 10 push-ups were better than none. 5 minutes of meditation were better than skipping entirely. The river of practice could slow, but it could never stop. By maintaining a consistent flow, even imperfect, Tishi preserved the continuity of his transformation. One evening, a storm lashed the mountains. Sheets of rain turned the courtyard into a river of mud. Students hesitated, some whispered of danger and discomfort. Tishi's mind searched for excuses. Yet he remembered the oath. He remembered the expelled student who had broken his word, and he moved. The rain did not stop his training. Each step, each movement, each breath flowed through water and mud as if the storm were part of the ritual. Discomfort became the teacher. It was no longer an excuse, it was the standard. By the 6th week, Tishi began noticing subtle changes in his perception. Actions that once required deliberation now unfolded automatically. The push-ups were no longer effort. The sword movements became extensions of his body. Repetition had freed his mind from the tyranny of decision. Neuroscience, centuries later, would describe this as the transfer of behavior from the prefrontal cortex to the basal ganglia, the automation of action. But Tishi did not need science. He only knew clarity, flow, and freedom from hesitation. His body moved as a river moves, inevitably, without question, without effort. Obstacles tested the limits of his new identity. Day 80 brought an emergency from home. His father required assistance. a sudden disruption to his training. For a moment, panic surged. How could he leave the school and maintain his 100-day commitment? The master intervened. Life respects no schedule, no promise, no convenience. Preparation, he explained, is the shield against chaos. Tishi documented potential disruptions, illness, injury, weather, family duties, and pre-decided precise responses. Traveling? Condensed morning practice. Sick? Reduced repetitions. Rain? Covered patio. Injury? Focus elsewhere. Nothing halted the flow. By pre-deciding, he removed hesitation from the moment of action, reserving his mind for execution, not debate. During these weeks, the transformation was as psychological as it was physical. The boy who once needed motivation now required none. The practice had become identity. He did not wait to try. He woke because he was a student, a practitioner, a warrior. Others began noticing. How does he never falter? Whispered the students. They could see the discipline, the flow, the unbroken chain of action. The master's words echoed in Tishi's mind. Identity, once restructured, is more powerful than willpower. You do not negotiate with a warrior because the warrior already exists. The Ninpo Method revealed its deeper principle. External consistency breeds internal clarity. By removing micro-decisions, enforcing strict repetition, and refusing to allow gaps, Tishi's body and mind aligned. The chaos that once ruled his mornings, his thoughts, his intentions, dissolved. Each day he moved closer to a state of mushin, no mind, a consciousness free from the interference of ego, fear, or hesitation. And yet, perfection was never the goal. The method demanded imperfection in execution, but perfection in commitment. It demanded that Tishi act, even when incomplete, even when weary, even when sick or inconvenienced. Momentum, continuity, and resilience became the scaffolding of transformation. The training hall, once a place of struggle, became a forge. Here, weakness was melted away and reforged as discipline. By the end of the second month, the results were undeniable. Every action flowed without thought, every motion became instinct. The prefrontal cortex, free from trivial decisions, allowed his awareness to sharpen. He noticed subtle shifts in wind, texture, and position. Movements refined themselves. Every repetition became not mere exercise, but insight into mastery. He had entered the state of automatic excellence, a core tenet of the Ninpo Method. This phase of training prepared him not just for physical or technical challenges, but for the invisible war within, the battle against hesitation, ego, and the compulsion to negotiate. The first pillars, the oath, rhythm, perfect form, and gapless practice, had aligned his body and mind. The fifth pillar, prior preparation, ensured that this alignment would survive the unpredictable chaos of life. In this, Tishi understood the true power of the Ninpo Method. It was not about strength alone. It was about eliminating the weak self so that action could occur without thought, without fear, without delay. The final month approached like a storm. By day 70, Tishi's body was stronger, his mind sharper, but the true battle had moved from physical endurance to the subtleties of identity and perception. The oath he had taken months ago had become the foundation of every action. He no longer negotiated with himself, he no longer hesitated. But mastery demanded more. The Ninpo Method was not about surviving the expected, it was about thriving when chaos struck, when comfort disappeared, when the weak self cried to be heard. Storms, illness, exhaustion, unexpected tasks, these were no longer obstacles but tools. The master had taught him the fourth pillar, Zeni, prior preparation. Every possible scenario had been imagined, every contingency rehearsed. When a sudden snowstorm blocked the mountain path, Tishi moved with precision. When a minor fever tried to convince him to rest, he adjusted his practice but never stopped. His body moved in abbreviated sequences. Push-ups, squats, sword drills, meditation, all modified, all consistent. Momentum remained intact. Nothing was allowed to break the chain. It was during these weeks that Tishi truly understood the invisible preparation principle. The secret was not knowledge, it was anticipation. Every situation had a pre-decided response. Chaos could not unsettle him because he had already confronted it mentally, repeatedly, long before it arrived. Modern psychology would later call this pre-commitment, a way to bypass decision fatigue, protect willpower, and ensure execution. For Tishi, it was instinct. Reaction without hesitation had replaced thought. But the true test came in the form of temptation, comfort, novelty, distraction. These assailed him in subtle, insidious ways. On a rare afternoon break, he saw the other students laughing, resting, enjoying the fleeting sun. His mind whispered, "You've done enough. Skip today. Take the easy path. One day won't matter." The old Tishi, the boy who could not finish 3 push-ups, would have given in. But the new Tishi felt nothing but a quiet recognition. That voice was not forbidden. It simply no longer had power. His identity had shifted. He was no longer the boy who tries. He was the student who acts. The days passed with relentless rigor. Each morning the bell called. Each evening the master observed. Mistakes became fewer. Actions flowed. Breathing synchronized with movement. Awareness sharpened. Every repetition revealed a microscopic detail. How the wrist rotated during a sword strike, how the foot planted in a squat, how posture influenced balance and endurance. This was the essence of form, not variety, not improvisation, but mastery through repetition. The mind, freed from trivial decisions, became capable of observation, analysis, and subtle adjustment. By day 90, something extraordinary emerged. The Ninpo Method's 5th pillar, Mushin, the mindless mind, was no longer theoretical. Tishi moved without thought, yet with full awareness. Hesitation had died. Ego had been silenced. The moment a task appeared, physical, mental, or moral, he executed without deliberation. Strike, block, lift, meditate, each action flowed seamlessly. In the past, he would have debated endlessly. Now, he simply was. The student who needed permission, encouragement, or motivation no longer existed. Only the warrior remained. Even adversity could not halt him. On day 95, a sudden family emergency arose. Villagers needed assistance, and for a moment the old mind might have panicked. But pre-decided responses guided every action. Early mornings, reduced training, condensed practice, the sequence continued. Momentum was preserved, identity remained intact, the weak self had no voice. The river of action continued to flow, impervious to obstacles, the other students noticed. Whispers spread, "How does he do it? He never fails. He is constant, unshakable, unstoppable." They did not understand. They had the same time, the same schedule, the same rules, yet they wavered. Tishi's discipline was no longer just skill, it was a reflection of transformation. People felt it instinctively. His presence conveyed inevitability. You could see it in his movements, his posture, his eyes. This was the visible proof of the invisible method. The Ninpo Method was teaching more than endurance. It was teaching clarity, presence, and resilience. Each pillar, Ketsui, Ri, Kata, Muku, Zeni, had aligned mind and body. Public oath forged identity. Unchanging rhythm eliminated negotiation. Perfect form built awareness and precision. Gapless practice preserved momentum. Prior preparation removed hesitation. Combined, they created not just a capable student, but a warrior. By the 100th day, the culmination approached. The sequence of training, identical for 100 days, had embedded deeply in his neural pathways. Actions were automatic, precise, unstoppable. There was no thought of giving up, no negotiation with self, no temptation to delay, only execution, only presence, only the steady rhythm of mastery. The final bell rang, echoing through the mountains. Tishi completed the sequence as he had done every day. No deviations, no excuses, no gaps. He stopped. Silence. The master approached. "How do you feel?" he asked. Tishi could not describe it in ordinary words. Relief, pride, and joy were absent. Instead, there was clarity, quiet power, and a strange sense of emptiness. The old self who questioned, hesitated, and negotiated was gone. In its place was a mind and body aligned, a student transformed into a warrior. Mushin had been achieved, not by meditation alone, not by mere exercise, but through the relentless, disciplined practice of the Ninpo Method. The master nodded. This is only the beginning. Discipline is not for comfort, it is for transformation. You are no longer a boy who tries, you are a person who is. A warrior acts because there is no alternative. This is the true power of Ninpo. From that moment, Tishi's presence carried weight. Others saw it and felt it. They whispered, not in admiration but in awe and discomfort. Discipline that scares is discipline that works. Ordinary minds could not comprehend it. The method was simple but brutal. No excuses, no hesitation, no negotiation, no compromise. To witness it was to confront the weakness within themselves. Tishi no longer trained to improve. He trained because he was the kind of person who acts, regardless of circumstance. The lessons of the Ninpo method extended beyond the mountains. The warrior was forged not by physical skill alone, but by the restructuring of identity. The weak self, which negotiates, hesitates, and excuses, must be sacrificed. Only then does consistency, presence, and unbreakable discipline arise. The system was not for the faint of heart. It demanded total commitment, the willingness to endure discomfort, and the courage to confront the self that whispers, "Not today." The days after the 100th bell were different. Tishi's body remained the same, but his mind had expanded into a realm few had ever entered. He no longer measured success by effort or struggle. Success was inherent in action. The warrior did not negotiate. He did not deliberate. He simply executed, as naturally as breathing. His identity had fused with his practice. It was impossible to separate the two. 3 months later, the master tested him further. A real mission awaited: infiltration into an enemy outpost to recover intelligence. The conditions were harsh: sleep-deprived nights, freezing winds, scarce food, and the constant threat of discovery. Tishi had faced harsh training before, but this was different. Life itself was now the trial, and yet he was not afraid. Hesitation had been removed, decision fatigue nullified, ego silenced. He acted as the system had ingrained, one step at a time, precise, deliberate, unstoppable. Every obstacle had a pre-decided solution. Snow-blocked paths were circumvented with planned alternate routes. Injuries were compensated by alternate techniques. Distractions and unexpected encounters were absorbed, managed, executed. The mission took 7 days, grueling and unforgiving. Yet Tishi returned with success. His fellow shinobi were astonished, asking how he endured the impossible. He answered simply, "I do what needs to be done." But even this explanation missed the deeper truth. The action did not require motivation or thought. It required identity. Discipline had become his essence. The public oath, the unchanging rhythm, the perfect form, gapless practice, and prior preparation had fused into a single force. Tishi's identity no longer allowed failure. He was a living example that the weak self, the one that negotiates, hesitates, and makes excuses, must be sacrificed. Only then can a person embody unbreakable discipline. Beyond physical action, the transformation was visible in daily life. His presence commanded attention. Others instinctively sensed his focus and constancy. Colleagues noticed his reliability. Friends observed his calm under pressure. Enemies felt his precision. Discipline, when it becomes a core part of identity, radiates outward. It is no longer a skill, it is a state of being. The Ninpo Method's principles were clear. Ketsui, the public oath, had transformed the abstract intention of discipline into an unbreakable identity. Ri, the unchanging rhythm, had removed the trap of indecision and negotiation. Kata, the perfect form, had created automatic, precise execution. Muku, practice without gaps, had ensured momentum over perfection. Zeni, prior preparation, had anticipated every obstacle, ensuring action when circumstances were chaotic. Combined, they formed a system that restructured mind, body, and spirit into a singular, disciplined force. Tishi's journey illustrated that true discipline is not about fleeting motivation, temporary improvement, or isolated effort. It is about restructuring identity and creating an unbreakable framework for action. Ordinary people attempt discipline in fragments: a week of consistent exercise, a month of dieting, a brief meditation practice. These efforts often fail because they rely on willpower alone. Ninpo discipline, in contrast, works with human nature, not against it. It harnesses the brain's response to commitment, pattern, and anticipation to create unstoppable execution. The master reminded him, discipline is uncomfortable, it will make others uneasy. Friends may mock, colleagues may doubt, society may question. That discomfort is a sign of true transformation. Ordinary people fear discipline because it exposes weakness, both in themselves and in others. Warriors, however, embrace it, knowing that fear and discomfort are indicators that they are operating on a higher level. Months later, Tishi reflected on the boy he had been, the one who could not complete 3 push-ups, who hesitated endlessly, who negotiated every action. That boy no longer existed. In his place stood a warrior, whose discipline was invisible yet absolute, internal yet visible in every action. The transformation was not merely physical or skill-based, it was structural. Tishi's identity, his automatic behavior, and his response to life had all been rewired by the 5 pillars of Ninpo. And the lessons extend beyond mountains and missions. In modern life, anyone can apply the principles, make public commitments that define your identity, remove negotiation by fixing routines, repeat actions until they are automatic, never break momentum, and anticipate obstacles with pre-decided responses. These are not abstract ideas, they are actionable steps to cultivate unshakable discipline. In the end, Tishi's journey was not about being a shinobi alone. It was about discovering the nature of human potential when structure, identity, and action align. Every action reinforced the next. Every day strengthened the foundation. Every challenge became an opportunity to solidify habit and identity. Discipline was no longer a tool. It was the very essence of existence. When you apply these principles, the results are profound. You begin to operate on a level where hesitation, procrastination, and excuses are irrelevant. You act because it is who you are. Momentum, precision, and clarity replace uncertainty. Life becomes a series of deliberate actions, executed automatically, refined endlessly. The weak self dies and the warrior emerges. Ninpo is not just a method, it is a system to transform anyone willing to commit completely. It does not require exceptional talent, intelligence, or strength. It requires sacrifice, the sacrifice of hesitation, negotiation, and excuses. When you follow the 5 pillars, Ketsui, Ri, Kata, Muku, Zeni, you will not merely improve, you will become someone unrecognizable from the person who started. The world will notice, and your own mind will recognize the clarity and power that come from absolute discipline. The question is no longer whether you can do it. The question is whether you are willing to commit fully, to endure discomfort, to embrace structure, and to sacrifice the version of yourself that hesitates. 100 days of consistency, focus, and pre-decided action will change everything. You will not just build habits, you will build identity. You will not just gain discipline, you will embody it. You will no longer negotiate with yourself because the person who negotiates no longer exists. Tishi's story is proof. A boy who could not perform a simple task became a warrior capable of enduring the impossible. Not because of strength, not because of genius, but because he embraced the method fully, surrendered the weak self, and allowed structure and repetition to forge a new identity. The Ninpo method does not merely create discipline, it creates transformation, presence, and action that cannot be broken. This is your invitation. Apply the 5 pillars, declare your oath publicly, fix your schedule, perfect your form, practice without gaps, anticipate every obstacle, do not compromise, do not negotiate. Embrace the discomfort, sacrifice the hesitation, and in 100 days, the person you were will be gone, replaced by a warrior whose discipline cannot be challenged, whose identity cannot be shaken, and whose actions speak louder than any words ever could. The system is simple. The journey is brutal. The result is inevitable if you commit fully. Will you take the step? Will you endure, execute, and transform? Will you allow the weak self to die so that the warrior within can emerge? The choice is yours. But remember, true discipline is not measured by effort. It is measured by consistency, by action, and by identity. Take the path, embrace the method, and become unbreakable.